Hey, Bestie, I got a question for you.
What's up, bestie?
What day comes between Friday and Sunday?
Is it Saturday?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Welcome back to Spicy Saturday, everybody. If you don't know what this is by now, we'll just remind you real quick. Both of us come prepared with 2 Reddit stories each, and we read them to each other, and if there are updates, we discuss those updates, and we also take a little deep dive in and give our own thoughts on the matter.
And today's subreddit is a little, am I the meanie? But yeah, Hools, if you're not already, if you want to join Whoville, just go down there and click a little button called subscribe, and you're immediately a resident. It's that easy. All right, Darryl. So I went first last week. You should go first this week.
Everyone's going to start calling me Darryl. I hope you know that now.
The overall vibes today is pretty much family drama.
This first story comes from user AnyInspection3854. Am I the a-hole for what I said to my child? I, male 49, have a child who is non-binary, who attends a pretty expensive private liberal arts college. I love them with all my heart, and I'm so proud of their achievements. During their time, I made sure that they only focused on their studies or their sport. They play soccer and have another year of the NCAA to play and have expressed strong interest in playing. I did not allow them to get a job or do any on-campus work during their time at school. I didn't want it to be a distraction. They were welcome to home during the summer and work at their old job as they saw fit and could live at home expense-free. They graduated their school, and I'm so happy for them. They got into the graduate school at their university and will attend there and are intending to use the last year to play in the NCAA. You know, sometimes like reading these and having to on the fly correct the grammar that's actually in the original post
it's
myself.
Rough sometimes.
Sometimes it's like trying to complete a 1,000 piece jigsaw puzzle in a second. It's just, I can't do it. They got into the graduate school at their university. Oh, I already said that. Okay. With that being said... With that being said, their employment is not great and they are not making a lot of money. One of my biggest issues is that we agreed to split the tuition bill and I will pay some and they will pay some. Okay, hang on. We'll talk about this later. With their employment this summer, they can't do that, so I will have to pay the whole bill. Recently, they have discussed that they are not really into coming back to school and are looking for full-time jobs. I think this would be a huge mistake to throw away everything they have worked for in their schooling. My child called me and told me they had a job interview lined up for them and told me the salary range, which was astronomical for someone straight out of college. Good for them. Good for them. It is a good job and right up their alley, but I can't help but think that they're going to ruin their last potential year and a good graduate top 10 school. So on the phone I said, while we're talking about finances, I'm hoping that this interview, well, I hope it doesn't go well. They hung up and they haven't spoken to me except to talk about their potential course schedule next year. I want what's best for my child, but I don't think a job is the right call. Am I the weenie? Every time we do this, let's just do Am I the weenie?
Am I the weenie?
It's so silly. It's so silly, it just might work.
So they're mad that their kid got a job?
Yeah, they don't want them getting a job, it seems,
as a
because
distraction for school?
Yeah, because they want them to focus on their studies or their sport.
Well, did they say it's a job in, like, their field, like what they're studying?
They said that it's right up their alley. They had a job interview lined up for them, told me the salary range was astronomical for someone straight out of college. It's a good job and right up their alley. They didn't say if it was particularly in their field.
Okay.
Let me go to their... There's really no update, but there are some replies. So let's go down to the comments for a little bit and let's just like fish around there. I actually have a couple comments here where OP actually responded to a couple of the comments, so I'll read those. This reply comes from Clint Beastwood. You're the weenie. You say earlier you didn't want work to be a distraction. Now it's the whole focal point you make when speaking to them. No, it's okay. It's going to take a little while to get used to.
You're the weenie.
Everyone in the comments, if you dig Am I the weenie, let us know, please. Like it's okay if you don't. If you don't...
Am I the Weenie Hut Jr.?
Am I the Weenie Hut Jr. if I say that I don't want to be a bubble baby boy anymore?
A bubble baby?
I forgot what they said. I just know that there were bubbles involved. A bubble blowing baby?
Yeah, a bubble blowing baby.
Bubble blowing baby. There we go.
Yeah. Am I the bubble blowing baby? Okay, anyway.
Anyway, watch our Power Wash video that features SpongeBob DLC. You'll love it.
Jesus. Anyway.
Oh, I should go back to the comment. Okay, so The OP commented on you're the weenie you say earlier you didn't want work to be a distraction. Now it's the whole focal point you make when speaking to them. OP says, yes, because on campus, jobs are a distraction. Oftentimes, students can pile up the hours and forget their studies.
I feel like you need to give them the chance to at least try it, because I imagine it's their first job. So at least let them have experience. They're already, in college?
And being that overbearing on your child, that, I don't want to say late into their life, because it's really not late in their life. It's really not even really the beginning of their life, really. It's just one of the most confusing times, in my opinion. One of the most confusing transitions in someone's life is the transition from high school to college, especially in America. It's just straight up helicopter parenting. Here's another one from, oh my God, we were just talking about SpongeBob. This comment is from Major Barnacle.
That's awesome.
2212. You're the weenie. Your child is actually an adult. It's time for you to start respecting them as an adult and the choices they will start making for their adult life. As a parent, this also means you may have to bite your tongue if they stumble a bit, but overall should be hoping they succeed. Their path may not be what you envision, but you have to trust it's right for them. As my mom used to always say, all I want is for you kids to be happy.
Why did that make you laugh?
Because it was like, I was expecting some kind of life-altering, I just climbed the top of Mount Everest inspirational kind of quote, but it's all I want is for you kids to be happy.
That's
it's
good.
So wholesome. It's so wholesome and simple. I just wasn't expecting it, and it caught me off guard, and that's why I laughed, okay?
That's awesome. Yeah, I would agree. They're the weenie.
They said, try looking at it through that lens and issue an apology for your self-serving and unsupportive response to this exciting interview. They're likely nervous and could use a supportive parent.
Or like I said, it's probably their first job and it's their first interview. And I remember my first interview, I was shitting.
You want to know something that's going to piss you off even more? Wait till you hear the comment from OP on this one.
Oh God, okay.
I recognize that they are an adult, but they have no credit, no other experience, and they have a real shot at going far in their sport. I want my kids to be happy. It's just one more year, and I would be remiss if they gave up this opportunity that everyone has worked so hard to get to. It's a great school, top 10, money can always come back.
To me, it kind of seems like it's his dream. It's the classic High School Musical drama. The dad wants to...
The dad wants what's best for his child, which is what he wanted to do, but was too lame to do himself.
Yeah, it kind of seems like the dad is living vicariously through his kid. And that's weird.
That's tea. So there doesn't really seem to be an update for that. That's really the closest thing that I can get to an update, because it was posted 6 days ago. Okay. But... So, speaking of helicopter parents, this next story is posted by user Stephanie Pierce. Using your real name? Using your real name?
Using your real name? Using your real name?
All right, here we go. I, female 49, have 2 daughters, one of which is 17. Her curfew is 10:30 p.m. However, she finds it unfair for someone...
Old?
17.
Okay, 10:30? Okay.
10:30. But she doesn't say on which days.
If it's on a school night, I guess that's kind of reasonable. To stay out, I guess that's reasonable.
When I was 17, if I was out at 10:30, I don't know what I was doing.
I was usually at a friend's house.
That's pretty much it. At that age, yeah.
Yeah.
In the past, I've had multiple arguments with her, such as her friends having more relaxed parents than her. However, I think 10:30 is a perfectly good time for her to come home from. She always comes home at the agreed time, and she doesn't drink or smoke or anything like that. We've had a couple arguments in the past with rules, etc. For example, she wasn't allowed to have her phone in her bedroom until she was 14, and past her curfew when she was 14 was 6 p.m. So her curfew when she was 14 was 6 p.m.
Okay.
Which I think is also reasonable for someone of that age. I think we're treading some...
That's like...
I think we're treading a fine line there.
So, you're 14. You probably get out of school at, 2, 3. Let's say you had, aftercare or some shit, and you weren't able to get picked up till, 5. You can only do whatever till 6, and you're fucked.
Anyway, cutting to last night. She was out with friends at a restaurant and also hanging by the river. I don't like her hanging around the river as it can get pretty dodgy. I know this because she has to have her location on when she's going out.
Oh.
I continuously checked her location. Yeah, it's getting kind of Black Mirror-ish. Remember that the overbearing mom episode?
Yeah.
I forget that episode?
Yes.
That was wild. That was a great episode.
That was crazy.
I continuously checked her location to check that she was safe and all. Yeah, no, this is getting really that episode. However, the time was already 10 p.m. and she hadn't begun to make her way back yet. At 10:30 p.m., she still wasn't back. And then I asked her why she wasn't back yet. I was very upset as she had agreed to come back at 10:30 p.m. as usual. The time then came to 11 and she still hadn't come back, and she had texted me to ask if she could stay out later. Of course I said no because it was already 11 p.m. and she wasn't back. I got more and more annoyed as she still wasn't making her way back yet, and I began to bombard her with texts asking her why she wasn't home yet and if she knew what the time was. Bless you.
Thank you.
I was very annoyed with her, and I was even tempted to go out in the car to go and get her from wherever she was. Finally, at 12 a.m., she finally turned up. I had already locked the door, and as she was knocking on the door, I continued to ignore the knocks. She was a whole hour and a half late from coming home. I left her out there for about 20 minutes with her knocking on the door, begging me to let her in, until I finally unlocked the door. I began to shout at her, telling her that coming home at this time of night was unacceptable. After about 10 minutes of us arguing, I let her go upstairs. I decided that if she wasn't going to come home at the right time, that she isn't able to go out at all for the next week or so. I'm upset that she totally disregarded my rules, and as long as she's living under my house, she must come home at 10:30. I'm very upset with her, and although she doesn't want to break the rules, this one has left me with no trust for her. Am I the weenie?
Yeah, I do think you're kind of the weenie. Because, like, I don't know, if it's like the first time she's ever messed up or like didn't follow the rules, I think you're being kind of harsh for leaving her outside for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, if you're like, wow, I don't trust her anymore. I have absolutely no trust
that's kind of
my
weird.
daughter anymore. Like, she doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, to
Yeah.
your knowledge. Listen, we got into things when we were kids, you know.
Yeah, I'd be like that. But overall, it seems like,
she's got a good head on her shoulders.
yeah, I feel like you should kind of give her some leniency, you know?
How is your child ever going to have any life experience or have anything, like any kind of development at all in their younger years if you don't back off of them sometimes?
Yeah. I do think the kid should have like at least called or something. My mom was pretty lenient for like me to like hang out with people as long as I let her know. Just like, hey, just call me if you're gonna be over here, or like if you're gonna be out later than usual. Just let me know.
This one comment says, and now her kid knows that if she's going to be late, there's just no point in going home and may as well just stay out.
Yeah, no, locking your kid out, like even if it was for just 20 minutes, that's still fucked up. Like,
yeah, at that point, just get back in the car and just go back. Okay, so the only update I really have, Stephanie here has replied to this one comment. It's not really that much of an update, but the comment above says, why the fuck does she not have her own set of keys? Obviously, you're an asshole for everything else, but this part astounds me. So yeah, overall, I think this person is a fucking weenie.
big weenie.
All right, Hool. I'm excited to hear yours.
All right. This one is by user who even is that 5. Am I the asshole for telling my fiance my daughter has to be in our wedding? I, 45 male, have a daughter, P, from a previous relationship. I divorced my ex-wife on good terms, and we share 50-50 custody of P. She's now 11. After I divorced my ex-wife, I met my now fiance, S. S and my daughter got along very well. After 5 years of my relationship with S, I proposed. S was super excited and wanted to start planning right away. She looked at venues and started asking her friends to be her bridesmaids. She then told me she wanted her niece to be a flower girl, which I had no problem with, but I said I also wanted P to be a flower girl. S looked at me funny and then said that she didn't think that P would fit the part. I got angry and told S that my daughter would be in our wedding. S started to become upset and said that the girls in the wedding were up to her and P wouldn't be one of them. I told S that if P wasn't in the wedding, then there might not be a wedding. I stormed out and took P to get ice cream. P knows we are getting married and told me she thinks she will look pretty in whatever dress S decides she would wear. This broke my heart and I decided to text S. I told her I would be staying at a friend's to think this over. My mother-in-law texted me saying I overreacted and that my daughter doesn't have to be in my wedding. And I was an ass for saying that I would cancel. Am I overreacting or just being a good dad? I definitely do not think you're the weenie. That's your whole daughter.
Someone who's important to you, who should be there.
Especially if she's 11, like, come on.
11 might be very young, but
She still can understand if she's not wanted or not. And I think that's fucked up because you're literally marrying into this family, knowing that he has a kid. So you should accept the entire family, you know? This top comment has like a big red box, like a whole bunch of words and shit. It says, this is a big red flag. If she doesn't want to include her If she doesn't want to include her stepdaughter in her wedding, then don't expect she will include your daughter in her life.
Yep.
And that's very true.
Yep.
Like, that should be telling on how she feels about his kid. She's 11 and they've been together for 5 years. Like, she's known her since she was 6. And you're acting like that, dude?
That's a lot of developmental years going by where, oh no.
Like,
I'm like thinking about how fucked up this girl's life is gonna be.
Like, imagine knowing your stepmom doesn't really give a fuck about you and just doesn't want you in the wedding and would rather
Hunt wabbits.
would rather pick her niece, who could just be like a little bridesmaid or something.
And it would be adorable.
And it would be adorable having a little bridesmaid. That's cute as fuck.
It's like you can't find a place for her at the like what? If anything, this gives you a clear indication of who you are marrying and what you can expect.
There's no good intentions out of that.
The wedding hasn't happened yet, right?
No, it has not.
Okay. There are no updates on it as
We
to
do
whether
have an update.
We have an update?
We have an update. We have a whole update.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Let's get to that update. I must know. Forget everything that I was going to say.
Update. Hey, Reddit. Thanks, everyone, for all the kind words and suggestions. To answer a few questions, my daughter is not disabled, chubby, or having an awkward face. In parentheses, like braces/glasses. I did ask if P could be a groomsman. S immediately shot me down. S is 39. She is the same race as my daughter. This is her first marriage. I tried to answer as many comments as possible. I came home to talk to S today. When I pulled in our driveway, my mother-in-law was sitting there in her car. I got out and went inside trying to avoid talking to my mother-in-law. S was sitting at the kitchen table and I joined her. She sat in silence, so I asked the first question. Why does P not fit the part and why don't you want her in the wedding at all? Her answer full-on shocked me. She quietly said, I was hoping that after the wedding you could become a holiday visit only dad. I didn't want her in the wedding so she wouldn't be in the photos around the house since she wasn't going to be around much. I kept my cool, calmly took her hand, and pulled my engagement ring off. Her eyes started to tear up. She said we shouldn't end the marriage over this and that she can change. I told her the damage was already done. I told her I wanted her things moved out by next week and that she could come get them when my daughter wasn't home. The house is in my name.
Yeah, bitch!
The house is in my name and I paid for it. I was allowing her to get her furniture that she paid for. She stormed out and mother-in-law came knocking on the door saying I was being unreasonable.
No, you weren't.
I couldn't imagine only seeing my daughter 3 or 4 times a year. The fact that S wanted me to give up part of my custody blew me away. I'm sitting on my couch just in shock. Our honeymoon was supposed to be in Hawaii. Looks like me and P will be going instead. I will update again if anything happens.
Yes. Send vacation pictures, but blur out the faces, please.
That's crazy. Literally imagine your fiance being like, oh, I thought after we got married, you wouldn't be a father as much. What?
And then, like, I'm expecting you to only see your daughter like 3 or 4 times a year.
A holiday only visit, Dad? What is that?
I don't know.
Is that what her dad was? Because I'm not seeing a daddy in the picture. Okay, so this is one of the top comments. Holy shit. First things first, you are an amazing father. Good on you for having P's back. Second, your ex-fiancé is an absolute witch. Like, how big is her bag? It must be massive to hold all that audacity.
I've never heard on the word audacity used in such
It's pretty good.
Such a great way.
She really wanted to take your daughter out of your life and replace it with whatever family you two decided to have. You did well by keeping calm. My anger issues could never. Third, I know it hurts and you're likely in shock, but know that you did the right thing. Surround yourself and P with people who love and support you. And take comfort in the fact that you dodged a massive bullet.
Yeah, you really did.
I'm really glad that you decided to stick up for your daughter, OP. Like, I can't imagine how the daughter would feel if you just decided to go along with whatever she's, like, your ex-fiance said.
That's the kind of shit that you can't even write in movies.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Listen, normally I wouldn't have just outright called a woman a bitch, but
That's a bitch.
that's a big
That's
bitch.
a bitch. So this next one, it's by user AITA 8482828. Am I the weenie being pissed at what my wife said to our niece? Trigger warning, emotional abuse. Not really physical, just kind of fucked up things for parents. My sister and brother-in-law were abusive parents to my niece, Charlotte. I always tried to protect her, but my wife and I were only able to get custody 3 years ago. We adopted her, and she's a good kid at heart, but she still struggles a lot. She's still in therapy and has come so far, but finds it difficult to accept unconditional love, and that kids don't have to be perfect. While she's usually fine with my wife and I, she still sometimes tends to see our daughter, Chloe, as ungrateful and spoiled. I've worked really hard on this, and it's a lot better, but sometimes it comes up in their teenage squabbles. It's not perfect, but the girls generally get along. Last Friday, they had an issue. I was at work, so this is based on what I was told after. Chloe was refusing to do any of her chores and arguing about it with my wife. Charlotte jumped in and basically called Chloe lazy and said that she should be a better daughter like her. Apparently, my wife got pissed off and told her off. She reminded her that she was lucky we were taking care of her and to stay out of it. From there, it got bad. My wife says that Charlotte was extremely rude about Chloe. But she also admits she told Charlotte that we didn't have to take care of her, and that basically, unlike Chloe, we can send her back to her parents if she keeps it up.
Oh,
yikes.
No.
Ignoring the fact we legally cannot, that's just completely fucked up. They ended their fight with Charlotte just going to my parents for that night, and she's been really upset and withdrawn since. When I got home, my wife filled me in, and I was honestly pretty furious. The first thing that came to mind was, what the fuck was wrong with you? Which admittedly wasn't a productive response, but I was honestly just floored. The issue is that Charlotte doesn't get that a kid deserves unconditional love, even if they're not perfect. So you fucking tell her that you'll kick her out if she doesn't behave? All the progress I worked with her for is going to be shut back again. I was mad and fought about it. I get she can be difficult, but that was inappropriate. However, she still refused to apologize or anything. I've tried to talk to her and explain that we love her and that it wasn't meant the way it was said, but my wife is just accusing me of babying and favoring Charlotte. Apparently, I'm being unreasonable, thinking what she did was disgusting, that I should care more about Chloe as if this is a competition. I'm still honestly pretty pissed at her, while she just claims I'm unreasonable and being a shit dad to Chloe. Woo! That is fucked up. You are not the weenie.
Yeah, I think we have contenders for Dads of the Year.
And it's usually the other way around, where it's like the mom is protecting
hero.
kind of like the dad and shit. So it's really refreshing to see two fathers, or like at least one father and one father figure, are really stepping up to the plate and like protecting their daughters, you know? I think that's fucking awesome. I think that your wife was a big bitch to Charlotte, and considering all that she's been going through, like having abusive parents and just like feeling that you're never enough and that you don't have unconditional love. How could you say that? So OP did reply to a comment. The comment he replied to is, not the weenie. Your wife said a fucked up thing and really messed up Charlotte. Your wife needs to apologize and looks like you're gonna have to have individual long talks with everyone. OP was like, that's exactly what I think. I honestly don't know how she could say it, let alone keep defending it. I've been trying to talk to the girls about it, but Charlotte is still icing me out other than apologizing repeatedly. And then someone replied to that comment that OP said, I hate to have to tell you this, but I think your wife could say a thing like that because that's how she actually feels about Charlotte, a charity case who should be grateful for scraps. That reaction wasn't a woman mediating a fight between her two daughters. This was her defending her child against this hostile kid she took in. If she spoke in the heat of the moment, she would have been horrified afterwards, not doubling down. It's possible she never wanted Charlotte.
That's a crazy thought to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
And it could be true, considering she's defending what she said.
As someone who's adopted, I can't imagine it just, like, if it went the other way around. And it's just like thinking, stories like this just really make me feel grateful that I actually got put into a family where at least both of them where you have both parents that actually gave a damn.
Yeah. I can't imagine being in that situation, and my heart goes out to Charlotte. And I hope she's able to heal from this and know that she does deserve unconditional love.
This whole story kind of just puts things into perspective for a lot of people, not realizing just how fortunate some of us are. Like, and I'm not saying that, you know, we all haven't had, you know, fucked up things happen to us. You know, of course we have. That's what makes us us.
It's lore.
Yeah, it's our
just
lore.
Our lore.
It's our fucking lore. I hope that someday for Charlotte that this is just some weird ugly chapter.
Just a little bump in the road, hopefully. And
Yeah.
that she goes on to live a very happy life with people that are always supporting her and always showing her love.
Hey, it's like 15 years down the road or whatnot. If you're ever in town, hit us up. Let's go get a coffee.
Let's go,
talk
Charlotte.
about your mother. Let's go talk about your mother, Charlotte. Let's talk about what your mother is.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another Spicy Saturday. Again, if you want to become a Hool and join Hoolville, please click the little subscribe button and maybe give us a little like.
If there are any particular stories that you Hools would like us to go over, or if there's any particular subreddit you'd like to see us read from, let us know in the comments as well.
And just let us know your thoughts on all these stories. What's your opinions?
Please be respectful to everybody in the comments.
Yes, please. No fighting.
Mom and Dad will come down with the hammer. Mom and Dad will come down with the hammer. It will be bad. It will be bad.